What's up guys, my name's Brandon, and this week was an exciting one because we finally got the RC build of iOS 15.2 on Tuesday, and we also got the RC builds of the latest macOS, watchOS, and tvOS updates as well for both developers and public beta testers. And if you have an iPhone 13 or 13 Pro, you guys got the second RC build just yesterday on Friday, so all other iPhones will not be getting an RC2, but the iPhone 13 series did, along with Select Max for macOS Monterey 12.1. So in this video, we're going to discuss the RC builds, we're going to discuss some additional new features and changes, the performance, battery life, and more. And we'll also discuss what else Apple might be releasing this month. All right, so as I mentioned in the intro, Apple did release a second RC build, a second release candidate build of iOS 15.2 for the iPhone 13 series. So this is very unusual. Apple does not usually release beta softwares on Fridays. It has happened before, but it's not usual, and if it is, it's usually a second RC build like we saw here. So you can see here the update came in under 400 megabytes, so a very small update, and nothing changed aside from the build number and the modem. So we did get a modem update, which is pretty interesting here. So if we go into our settings here, we'll go ahead and check out the new build number for the second RC build. This is likely going to be the build number for the final release as well. It's 19C57. And then if we go down, you can see the modem firmware has also been updated to 1.32.09. So if you're having issues with connectivity, cell connectivity in the first RC build, which I personally was not, but if you were, that should be fixed here with this revised release candidate build. But aside from that, nothing else has changed with this second RC build, which is the reason I didn't make another video on it. I didn't want to be very repetitive and just tell you the same things I told you in the first RC video. Now, as far as additional features and changes in iOS 15.2, one of the big ones that just got revealed recently is that we can now see the parts and service history. So if you go into your settings, general about, if you replaced the battery or the screen, it will show if it was using a genuine Apple part or not. And Apple actually published a support document for this to show you how it works. And you can see here it shows what it looks like in your settings. It shows the battery and the camera, and it shows that they were replaced using genuine Apple parts. Now, and that's what it looks like when you tap on it in that section. Now, if you used a third party or, a non-genuine part, it will show this right here. It will say unknown parts right there. So this is going to be extremely useful for those trying to buy iPhones secondhand on like eBay or Facebook Marketplace. It's going to be very useful to be able to go into here and see if the display or camera have been replaced, and if they were replaced, was it using genuine parts or not? That's going to be a game changer because I can't tell you how many times I've bought a used iPhone on eBay and it had a really weird display that was definitely not genuine. And just for clarity, you could see here that it shows the iPhone XR and later, including the iPhone SE, you can see whether the battery has been replaced. For iPhone 11 models, iPhone 12 models, and iPhone 13 models, you could see whether the battery or display have been replaced, and then only for the iPhone 12 or 13 can you see if the camera has been replaced in addition to battery and display. So just keep that in mind. But this useful feature is coming with 15.2, and I think it's a big deal that not a lot of people are going to be talking about. But aside from that, I already talked about everything in the release notes in my RC video, and I'll be going more in depth with all these features and changes in my video next week when 15.2 gets released to the general public. Now, I did just want to confirm that the auto brightness bug has for sure been fixed. So I mentioned to you guys in my RC video that I think it's been fixed because it has not come back, but now after using the RC for multiple days, I can tell you for sure that the auto brightness bug has been fixed. And the same goes with the notification center. I've not seen one notification overlap in my notification center. And then also when I have a notification summary, I'm able to clear them properly. I don't have any issues with clearing my notification summary right here, and everything works as intended, and same with the news. So when you have news notifications, they don't come in like 10 at a time, and you're able to remove them properly, and also you don't see any duplicates right there like we had on 15.1. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any new emoji or new wallpapers. Hopefully we get those in iOS 15.3 at the beginning of next year in 2022, but we don't have those right now. We also don't have the digital driver's license, so we still don't have that feature. Of course, that does depend on state laws and things like that as well. So that's probably why that has been delayed. But we should be seeing the digital driver's license, new emoji, and new wallpapers sometime in early 2022, along with, of course, the long overdue universal control. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, we did see a macOS Monterey 12.1 RC2, and that did not include anything related to universal control. So no sign of that coming at all in 2021. Now, I did just want to mention that the spotlight bug is still here. So you can see I still cannot search for photos for whatever reason. This is one of the things I've talked about multiple times. I've tried resetting, I've tried so many different things, and I still cannot search spotlight for certain applications. So it works for some, it doesn't work for others. Like you can see photos right there not showing up, but if I search for like maps, that might show up. So no, maps doesn't show up. If I search for mail, that will show up. So it's kind of hit or miss, and that still has not been resolved here with the RC2 build of 15.2. So hopefully that's fixed before iOS 16 comes around. And then we do also have the battery drain bug when listening to music, although once again, it is not nearly as bad as it was in previous betas. It's hardly noticeable at all. I mean, I honestly don't see any battery drain coming from the music application anymore, but if you do, it's going to be very, very minor. Nothing like it was in like beta 2 and beta 3 of 15.2. But aside from this music streaming bug and the spotlight search, I really don't have any issues whatsoever on 15.2 RC. So I'm expecting to see a pretty solid update get pushed out. I think a lot of people are going to be pleased with iOS 15.2 once it does release next week, which I'll talk about here in a moment. But I did also want to talk about the performance. So if I go into the Geekbench score, you can see it actually popped up there. I'm surprised. You can see I scored a 1735 on the single core and a 4874 on the multi-core, which is actually pretty good. And this was higher than the RC1. So RC1, I scored a 1730, so 1735 on RC2. Scored a 4817 on RC1 and a 4874 here on RC2. So improved performance as well, which is always good to see. And then as far as battery life goes, ever since I've had RC1 installed, battery life has actually been good. And I don't think it's too much different than 15.1 and 15.1.1. It could be a little bit better, but it's definitely not worse. It's hardly noticeable if it is better, but it seems about the same to me so far from 15.1.1 to 15.2, which is a good sign. All right, so now let's move on to the community poll. So you can see here, I posted this poll on the community tab. If I go to my channel here and go to the community tab right here, I said iOS 15.2 is coming next week. And if you installed the RC, how is it running for you? And for those on 15.1, will you be updating? So for me, I'm gonna select what I am on. So I'm on 15.2 RC and it's great, no issues. You can see there that got 16% of the votes. 4% said they're on 15.2 RC and it's not great. 68% said they're on 15.1 and will be updating. 5% said they won't be updating, and 7% are still on iOS 14. So a very large percentage of you are still on 15.1 and will be updating to 15.2, which I think is a solid move. So thank you to everybody who voted. I did get this up a little bit later than I wanted to, but let's go ahead and read a couple of these comments. Chris here says that iOS 15 has been the buggiest iOS ever. Definitely not even close to what I have experienced. So ever since iOS 2, I've definitely seen a lot worse than iOS 15. iOS 15 would not even be probably in my top 3 for most buggiest, maybe not even top 5. So iOS 15 has been great overall. Of course, a lot of people overreact though when they're having a lot of bugs. So Nolan here said that he updated to the RC and it's been great on my 13 Pro Max and also fixed some connectivity issues on 15.1.1. So that is good to hear there. I'm on 15.2 RC, so far so good. Battery life and performance better than 15.1. Major bug I'm facing right now is Wi-Fi speed drops when Bluetooth is on. I've been facing the same issue on 15.1. So I don't think your Wi-Fi speeds are correlated to your Bluetooth being on. So that's pretty interesting. You know, it could just be an issue with your Wi-Fi because I've not had any issues with Wi-Fi speeds personally on iOS 15 whatsoever, at least not on the public releases. Brandon here is having issues receiving calls and FaceTime calls. He says that cellular connectivity is still garbage, regularly switching between 5G, LTE, and 3G, with it getting stuck on 3G quite a lot. That's interesting. That could just have to do with your location because I've not seen 3G personally in years. I mean, it's probably been a couple of years since I've seen 3G. So I don't know, it could have something to do with your location. I have a 13 Pro Max. My buddy has 12 mini with the same issues and drop calls, crickets from Apple. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could have something to do with your location just because I personally have not seen 3G in quite a while. You know, even if I am having connectivity issues with my device, I'm not seeing as low as 3G. So that would be where I start. I wish I had more for you there, but I really don't. And hopefully this 15.2 RC2 will fix that, because we did get a new modem update. So, some people are saying same here as well. So wish I had a better answer for you, and that's probably what you've already thought about, but that's all I have to say for that so far. I've definitely noticed a couple of bugs, even on CarPlay. It sometimes freezes up when I try to play music from my Spotify playlist. So a lot of people still having issues with CarPlay. I'm surprised Apple has not really addressed this and mentioned this in the release notes, but yeah, it looks like we're still having issues with CarPlay, unfortunately. Jim here asked if the RC build is the exact same as the final version. Yes, it is. It's just for developers and public beta testers to get their hands on ahead of time. CarPlay problem with Deezer. So it looks like we're still having issues with CarPlay and third-party applications. He says issue is music does not auto-resume if a notification is played. Battery seems good. First 12 betas were not, but the 3 and RC have had no issues. Someone said they're still on 14.8.1 on the iPhone 12 and won't update until iOS 15 is as stable. Now 15.2 might get you there. I think 15.2 is just about as stable as 14.8.1. It may be a little bit premature. We may wait till 15.3, but honestly, I think that 15.2 is looking really, really solid. I had a lot of issues that I reported right away in 15.1 and 15.1.1, but 15.2 addresses a lot of those. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess. James here has an iPhone 13 Pro Max on T-Mobile. Battery life hasn't been great at all, and signal is buggy. Hopefully 15.2 stable will fix these issues. I have to switch airplane mode on and off. Yeah, so even the RC2 here could have fixed that issue because we did get a modem update. So hopefully that has been addressed for you. You will have to update and let me know if that has been fixed for you, because I'm not having any issues with 5G personally. Someone says here, finally fixed my crazy battery drain and storage full by erasing all content and settings on 15.1 on the iPhone XR. So yeah, that's what a lot of people should do, is just go ahead and erase all content and settings if you're having really bad battery drain, especially if software updates are not fixing it. That's always a good place to start. So anyways, thanks to everybody who voted in the poll and also left a comment. It really helps out here on the channel. All right, so now let's move on to what is next for Apple. And of course, iOS 15.2 is right around the corner. So next week is the week of the 13th, and that is when I would expect to see iOS 15.2 get released to everybody. So most likely on the 13th or the 14th is when I would expect to see iOS 15.2, iPadOS 15.2, and all of the other software releases. Now, once iOS 15.2 gets released, I would not expect Apple to just completely leave us in the dark and not release anything until the new year. I would expect to see a 15.3 beta 1 as early as next week as well. So I'm thinking that it could come the day after iOS 15.2 is released. So I think we're going to have at least one beta to go into the new year with. And then after that, Apple's going to take all the feedback and release a beta 2 sometime in early January. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And of course, if you guys want to stay up to date with exactly when Apple releases any and everything, make sure you are following me over on Twitter. I'm just at Brandon Butch over there. You can find that linked down in the description below. But anyways, guys, there you have it. That is my follow-up for iOS 15.2, the RC build. Again, the final public release is just right around the corner, and I cannot wait. This is going to be a pretty big and important update. But if you guys enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the iOS 15.2 video next week, and hopefully a 15.3 beta 1 video as well. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.